Today we're going to be replacing the front brakes on my Honda Civic because they don't brake very well anymore, and it should probably be done by now. We have new pads and rotors, as well as some very, very trusty Harbor Freight jack stands, and the most redneck chocks you've ever seen. This side's good though. We have actual chocks on this side at least. There we go, I'm weak.
And then so we would take that hammer.
All right, so we got the pads off, at least on this first side here. And as you can see, the bottom one is pretty darn worn out. So these definitely need to be changed out. If there was any doubt before, we know now. And we kind of like cooked one side of them trying to take them off. They took a little persuasion. But anyways, now we just gotta get onto the rotor on this side and then onto the driver's side. So our current predicament is that some of the bolts down here will not budge. We've tried spraying some, I don't know what this stuff you spray on those is called, but we've sprayed some of that stuff on there to loosen up the bolts, and it's still not going. We've been smacking it with a hammer and trying to work it out for like the last 20 minutes. Okay, so we've been having some slight issues. The lighting is off right here, that's better. We've been having some slight issues. We bought an impact driver, and that didn't work. So we returned it and bought a more powerful one, and that didn't work. So now what we're gonna do is, I don't know why we didn't think of this before, but we're going to just turn the wheel all the way to the right, and then we can get we just bought a breaker bar right there. So we're gonna get that on there, and we have a torch there, and so we can probably heat it up and use the breaker bar. And hopefully that's enough to get those bolts loose. And we're probably gonna have the same issue on the other side as well. I started taking this apart last night, and now the pads are like completely stuck on there, and I can't get them off. But anyways, hopefully we can get these off with the breaker bar, because if that doesn't work, that was kind of our last idea there. But we'll get it. After multiple trips to Home Depot with different drills and everything, this little bar here, I just pushed on it a little bit, and it broke loose like right away. That was so easy. We didn't even use the torch yet. That was easy, man. Well, that was unbelievably easy. So now we have the caliper bracket off. So now we have to take these out, and then we're gonna lube these slider pins a little bit, because these can get a little tight, which mine are a little tight, but they still do move. So we're gonna lube those up and take these off, and then we can get to putting everything back on. All right, this one. There we go. See.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, look at I didn't see any torque spec. Well, bang it off.
Now that we have the bracket on and the rotor on there, obviously, the next thing we gotta do is put the pads in that caliper bracket, and then we can reset the piston on the caliper itself, and then put that on, and then we're good to go. Now the bottom doesn't want to go in. So, we've encountered another issue. On this here caliper bracket, there are these little tins that go in there, and then the brake pads go inside of the tins, and those are supposed to move freely so that you can actually like brake. That's kind of helpful. However, we put the new tins in and tried to put the new pads in, and they don't even go in at first. So we filed these down. I used my Dremel to like grind a bunch of that stuff out, all like the rust and just junk in there. And now that it fits a little bit better, but it's hardly any better at all. So now, after trying that for a long time, trying to make that work, I don't think it's gonna work. So we're gonna buy new caliper brackets, and you can't just buy those alone, so you have to buy the new calipers as well, which means we also have to bleed the brakes, so we have to buy a brake bleeding kit thing and do all that now too. So this is turning into like quite a long project. What we thought we were gonna get done in one Saturday afternoon is now, well, 2 days later already, and now I have to go to work in like 30 minutes or so. So don't have time to finish that today, so then we'll work on this tomorrow and probably find some other issues. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna hopefully pick some of that stuff up, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Alrighty, so now we got new calipers and caliper brackets right here. So we're gonna put these little pins in the bracket and then see if the pads, wherever those went, the new pads actually slide in there somewhat freely. Like that, right? So with these new caliper brackets, we tried to put the pads in the new ones to see how tight those were in there, and those are pretty tight. And then we did a little bit of research real quick and found that most of the time you will have to actually file down or grind down the edges of your brake pads because they probably won't fit right away how they come from the store wherever you buy them. So we're working on filing these down just a little bit and trying to see if they will actually fit in the old ones, because we took a little bit of the rust and just grit off of one of the old caliper brackets. So maybe we can still use the old stuff and return these and get some money back, but we'll see. Okay, after way too long of filing things down, we finally got these pads to where they can move about. What is this focus doing? We finally got the pads to slide almost freely in the caliper brackets. They're not like wiggly, but I don't think you want them super loose, so we have them to where you can slide it fairly easily, but they're not gonna like flap around too much. So now we just gotta put these back on the car, even though we already had these in once, but put those back, put the pads in, and then put the caliper on, and then we actually should be done by then. Now we finally got the caliper, the pads and the caliper back on there, and everything went on pretty smoothly. If you are doing this yourself at home, these 12mm bolts that go onto the caliper bracket or through the caliper to the bracket, those need to be torqued to 25 foot-pounds, and then the ones for the actual bracket to the car itself, I guess, have to be 80. Just a note there, but those look like they should be all good. So now I'm gonna hit the brakes a few times, make sure everything works how it should, then we can put the wheels on and go for a test drive. So there we have it, replacing the front brakes on my Civic. We had a couple little minor issues along the way, but we got her done, and now hopefully my brakes actually work, because I don't think they were doing anything before we replaced these. So we shall see. We gotta go take it for a test drive, but anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully this helped you out in some way replacing your own brakes, and yeah, have a good one.